Qatar after a seized wheel knock forced him to retire in the 2021 coaching bid.
Good evening, folks. You catch us on the start of the formation lap for round number 3 of the ESRL Reverse Grid Sprints Season 4, where we start off at Imola and then we go to Qatar in about 30 minutes time. But let us start then with the Circuit Emilia Romagna in Italy, one of 2 tracks in Italy on the calendar for tonight's event. And what a race we've got in store for you. As you can see, the grid comprising of the 2 Aston Martins of Aces and Scott on the front row on a split strategy. Jackalacco P3, then there's Scott in position number 4, Johnny Stokes 5, DRL Lancer P3, Ghost in the other Haas P7, Short Marcus P8, TF Martin P9, Glowstick in Formula 1 in P10, then Not Eve in P11, and Tear Down in P12. We'll take a look over the standings when I get a moment, but it's looking quite decent for the race ahead. 2 25% races, of course, here in ESRL, but there are no assists. This is completely elite settings for these races. No line, no ABS, no traction control, no automatic gears, no nothing. The drivers are completely alone in the cockpit, I should say. Nothing to help them get around this track, which is both fun and technical as you go through. Start off with the Tamburello chicane, then into Villeneuve, then Tosa, through Piratella into Aquaminerali, then through the Variante Alta and the 2 Ravazza corners, rounding off a lap here at Imola. We're a few moments away from the start. Aces and Scott have been disqualified. Aces and Jacko, have been disqualified as they have not got themselves parked up in their pit box correctly. But we are going to be underway and racing in a few moments' time. I'm going to ride on board with Jackalacco for the best view for 5 red lights for the Imola Grand Prix to start us off for round number 3, and we are underway and racing. It looks like a decent launch from Scott, who's going to draw level with his teammate. Wheel spin from Jackalacco as they go around the corner, trying to get the best view of the track possible. Scott and Aces still side by side. Jackalacco's going to look to try and go through. Aces covers his lead for the time being. A very clean start from everybody as they make their way through the first couple of corners. Johnny Stokes looking to get involved in this action already as he goes through, gaining a decent amount of places from the start. We'll pop that information up for you there. Up 1 place for Short Marcus and for Johnny Stokes. Short Marcus coming off of the back of a win over at EOR in fantastic fashion. I had the pleasure of commentating on that one, and I'm sure Scott was very thrilled with that as well, and I'm sure Short Marcus was as well after hearing his comments after the race. Ghost and TF Martin side by side into Aquaminerali. This is dangerous stuff going side by side here, but TF Martin doesn't back down, gets past Ghost in the Haas car for position number 8, and that's one of many overtakes that we are going to be seeing this evening. And to the 2 people watching so far, get involved in the live chat if you're with us here and watching the racing action now side by side. Not Eve and Ghost going wheel to wheel. Ghost had a little bit of a moment, it seems. He's dropped a couple places now. He's fighting wheel to wheel with the other McLaren of Not Eve for his position. Had a great time out last round. Decent run as Scott, I think, perhaps made a mistake, or Johnny Stokes jumped on the chance to get past him, but past the ESRL owner goes Johnny Stokes, and DRL Lancer gets past Scotty in the Williams as well. There's lots of action going on. We'll try and focus on what's going on toward the front as the timing tower has decided to have a little bit of a moment. Short Marcus up at place. Is TF Martin going to go around the outside as well? Believe our championship leader. Very good stance he's got in this sprint championship. He does all the way around the outside of Scotty and gets himself into P7. A decent move there. Jackalacco's still fighting away as he is. He's going to lose another place to DRL Lancer, I think. No, Jacko just hangs on. He was attacking Scott, and then he was being attacked himself by the Mercedes. Attacking once again as the Ferrari looks to the outside of this corner here. The Variante Outer doesn't quite get a move off there. Might have to try and rethink that one, perhaps in towards the Tamburello chicane of turn 1 and 2. Let's see what he can do coming through. Then the Ferrari is going to continue to hold off this car here, hoping for the timing tower to resettle everybody very close together for this sprint race. A mandatory pit stop is needed in this race as well. You've got to switch over to your tyres, so the drivers will have to keep that in mind as they're going through. Those on the mediums will have much more pace on the soft tyres on the latter stages of the race. But this is a hell of a fight we've got going on here for the final spot on the podium, and there's a bit of a fight brewing. Johnny Stokes has actually got his way past Aces in the meantime. I've been focusing on this scrap here, but Aces isn't going to let that one go too easily, as it looks like Not Eve is getting past their teammate now and up into P10 as they're fighting after Ghost. And here's DRL Lancer and Short Marcus side by side. This is going into Piratella, who's going to have the better line going through. The Mercedes swoops around the outside, but the Alpine sticks it there. Still side by side. They're going now into Aquaminerali. They still side by side as they go through. Fantastic racing not to make contact. The Alpine keeps it there. And now TF Martin's going to have a go at the Variante Outer around the outside as the Mercedes brakes earlier, backs out of the move, and TF Martin up a place. Great stuff from these drivers so far. Aces and the like have zoomed away. Martin up ahead of Short Marcus as well. Unstoppable he is in that Red Bull. You'd think Max Verstappen was driving that car as he's going around on the track, doing a hell of a job in this sprint round, and he's looking to set up a move on Giacolacco next. Can he get the line through into the Tamburello chicane? It's got to be you've got to be close enough to try and make the move. Doesn't quite. Jacko goes deep. Martin saw that one, cuts underneath Giacolacco in the Ferrari. Jacko's got nothing to do about it, and now he's got Short Marcus for company too. Not willing to leave. Oh, Johnny Stokes is round. He's gone round at the Villeneuve chicane, and he's going to plummet to the back of the grid. Oh, absolute calamity for the Haas car there. Not the session that he would have wanted to start this off. Oh, wow. It'll be in perfect position for pole for the next race, but he would have loved to have had a win here at Imola. But he's dropped the ball, and Aces now finds himself alone 2 seconds up the road. His teammate pulling the Fernando and holding up the drivers behind for as long as he possibly can. Ace is in a good spot for a win, but we've seen the pace from TF Martin. He's certainly got some pace behind the wheel of that Red Bull. He's already up a bunch of positions. Let's see, up 6 places after the start, just after 4 laps. He's on a rampage out there on the track, driving like an animal. But Short Marcus, winner of EOR last week, and what a win it was. Hungry for more. He's going to be chasing TF Martin as best he can. Will he try and make his way around Scott? No. Martin does, though. Nimble around the outside is the Red Bull. And now Short Marcus is going to want to get past as quickly and cleanly as possible to the inside of Scott. Scott doesn't fight it too much. Sensible from the Aston Martin. Knows those guys behind him are faster. Lets him through. And he's going to focus now on trying to consolidate P4 from the chasing pack behind as Giacolacco looks to try and make a move on Scott in the Aston Martin. Doesn't quite get the run he wants into Piratella, so he's going to sit behind now, and he's going to close in as they come through Aquaminerali. Surely not a move through here. It's tough enough as it is, and not a move from the Mercedes or from the Ferrari either through that section of the circuit. Look, TF Martin already on the back of Aces in the Aston Martin. So much pace has the Red Bull got there. DRL Lancer the first to get a 3-second time penalty for track limits violations in the session. That's going to hamper his progress in this race. That could see him way down the order into P10 perhaps if it stays as it is. When a driver's going to pit though, I'm imagining pit window opens around lap 8, lap 9 perhaps, depending on the tyre that you're on, to take you into the latter stages of the race. And here comes TF Martin. This is for the race lead. Round the outside he goes and into the position. Scott losing places. He's battling away with DRL Lancer. Giacolacco's made his way through. Scott not letting the Mercedes go past as easy. Ghost getting involved in this tussle as well. Ghost is well versed in the sprint format. He's a 6-time sprint champion over in APPF1, the server that he owns and maintains. As Not Eve makes takes a place as well. Ghost knows what he's doing in a sprint championship, and he's fighting his way very well. Now goes DRL Lancer up the inside of Scott. I've had barely a chance to breathe in this race. It's been action, action, action after a race around Mexico that slowly petered out after the first few laps. But we're continuing on. Sean Marcus has made progress. He's made his way past Aces now. He's going to try and close the gap on TF Martin, but he's looked so indomitable behind the wheel of that Red Bull car. And here comes DRL Lancer now, but against Giacolacco. Mercedes versus Ferrari, two titans of the Formula One, the Formula One sport. As we go through, not there, Ghost getting a bit caught up with the McLaren as well, looking to hold him off, but pit stops are being made. Jacko in the pits, Short Marcus in the pits as well. No, not Jacko, sorry, Scott in the pits. But the soft runners already opting to go on to the harder rubber of the mediums. Gonna go for an undercut. Let's see if it pays off. Jacko looks to the inside of Villeneuve, backs out quite sensibly. Maybe looks to try and set the move up on the exit down towards Tosa now. Does he get a move on? Not quite. He's not able to draw alongside, but Lancer has that time penalty to deal with. He'll be thinking about that while he's driving along, but not too much. He won't want to distract him from the race that he's got in hand. He's still fighting for position and perhaps fighting to see how far he can get from the drivers behind. But we're keeping our eyes on Short Marcus and Scott, and we're looking to take the undercut and see where they can run with it, because the undercut is fairly powerful around this circuit, and we'll see how much longer the others run. Will TF Martin respond with a pit stop of his own? Let's see. Gap to leader right now, 27 seconds. So if he did come in, which he is, he's going to respond. He knows what Short Marcus is trying to do, and he's in the pits, and I think he'll comfortably come out ahead of his rival. Meanwhile, Aces leads the race provisionally. He's got DRL Lancer chasing. Can he make a move in towards Tamburello? He's going to go for it. Side by side they go now, and they continue to go side by side. Some great clean racing between them. Giacolacco's getting involved now too, as the Mercedes made a little bit of a mistake. Going to follow Aces through the Villeneuve chicane. Doesn't quite manage to do it. Lancer holds on for now, but Lancer unable to make progress ahead of Aces versus Kings. Meanwhile, Short Marcus behind TF Martin as we predicted, but ever closer. He's right on the back of the Red Bull. This is your race lead. These guys are the net lead here of TF Martin and Short Marcus, and what a couple of drivers to be following for this race. Ghost has come in as well. He recognises that the undercut's going to be very powerful, and the 5 drivers at the front are all very close together and all fighting for position as well, so that's going to help with the case for the undercut. But Ghost has got Scott and Glowstick for company as well, and if they start fighting, that could hamper all of their progress through this race. Short Marcus all over the back of TF Martin. They look fairly equal on pace around this circuit. Jacko and Not Eve switching positions in the McLaren and Ferrari, two historic rivals from the 80s. Remember back to Senna and Prost? I certainly don't, but so I wasn't alive back then, but I certainly have heard many of the stories and seen many of the highlights of races and clips of those two coming together. But anyway, we continue. Martin and Short Marcus in the Alpine fighting along. Other drivers have come in. Everybody's come to serve their mandatory pit stop. Now your leaders are going to slip their way through. Not even Scotty, the only driver's not to come into the pits yet. But here comes Short Marcus now. Side by side they go. Drag race all the way. TF Martin using his ERS to good effect. Keeping Short Marcus through. A little bit of contact there. They rub wheels, but Short Marcus keeps it in. These two are going to be fighting all race long. I think this is looking to be an absolute barnstormer of a race. And look who's snuck into P4. Ghost. Undercut works perfectly. Although Glowstick on those soft tyres has managed to get himself ahead of Ghost, the 6-time sprint champion of APPF1, who is going to be a little bit miffed with that, but he'll not give up. But he has got that time penalty, which is not going to work in his favour. Meanwhile, Martin and Short Marcus still at it, still close to each other, still at odds around this incredible racetrack with such a great history here as well. Short Marcus making to look a move. Finally, Eve and Scotty come in to serve their mandatory pit stops and put on a set of the red walled soft tyre. Have they left it too late? It looks like they might drop out behind Johnny Stokes. If they're not lucky, it'll be definitely not behind Tier. They're moving now in the pit lane. There go your leaders as we go through. We'll switch back to them. Short Marcus going to go around the outside this time. Side by side once again between the two of them. But the inside for the next part of the corner. But Martin putting on a staunch defence. Putting that car in all the right places. He's so confident on the throttle as well. He was able to keep it in there. Keep the grip going. And wow, the racing between these two has been absolutely sensational. Only a little bit of contact between the two. But nothing outside of fairness on this racetrack between TF Martin and Short Marcus. They're going to continue to fight all race long. They've got about 7 more laps, or 6.5 laps if you're counting them properly, to go through Aqua Minerale. Once again, this is going to be an absolute sensational race. There's a bit of a fight going on behind as well. Scotty passed Aces, it seems, down. I think that's for, or is it Aces part? No, it was Scotty passed Aces for P9. These guys all racing. Scotty trying to get warmth into the tyres on those soft compounds, trying to fire them up and get them into that optimal operating window. So much has happened already in this race, and there's only been 10 laps, so we've still got a bunch more to go. And here comes Short Marcus once again. He's got a fantastic run out of Ravazza 2, and this is surely going to see him into the lead of the race. Lancer sets the fastest lap at 1 minute 15.890. Decent lap from him. Short Marcus tries to come back. Well, Martin tries to come back around the outside of Short Marcus. No luck there. And Marcus now takes the lead of this race. But I don't think this is over. These two are going to be switching positions as Martin takes a lot more curb into Villeneuve than Marcus does. It's very interesting watching everyone's different lines. As another time penalty goes for Ghost. Very uncharacteristic of him. McLaren, I must say, have made the most of the strategy here. They're in 5 and 6, chasing down Ghost is Lancer and Glowstick, who's trying to get past the Mercedes. Not able to on that occasion. Very little ERS left in. Not Eve though. Got some ERS at their disposal. They're going to be able to try and chase this down, but there's penalties ahead of them, so they'll gain a place. So really, Glowstick is currently your provisional P3 with Not Eve your provisional P4. So a decent couple of positions there. Don't fight each other, McLaren. Stay there. Be sensible. Maybe swap positions if you feel that you have to, but don't cut your nose off to spite your face, if I'm using that saying correctly. I love that sayings like that, and I feel like I never get chances to use it. But TF Martin coming back down very quickly past Short Marcus, has doubled the battery of his Alpine rival, and a switch for the lead once again on lap 12 now. But Short Marcus is going to stick with this one. Short Marcus knows how to win a race. I saw that on Saturday. Scott, meanwhile, fighting with Jackalacco. Lots of action going on. Jacko through now and close to contact between Scotty and Scott. And Johnny Stokes is there too. The other Aston Martin of Aces is lurking in the background. Going to try and capitalise on all this fighting are these cars. Meanwhile, DRL Lancer chasing up the hill toward Piratella, right behind Ghost. Let's take a quick look at the penalty situation. It's 6 for both Ghost and Lancer, and for Tier as well, who loves a time penalty during a Grand Prix. He gets many of them as he goes through, but has Short Marcus perhaps fallen off a little bit? Not as close as he was on previous laps, but he's continuing to stick with Martin and put the pressure on. I'm going to be out of water by the time this race finishes and have to get some more between races, but we'll continue on. Martin under pressure once again, perhaps. Is Short Marcus going to close that gap? He's not closing as fast as he would like. I think he's content to sit with him and maybe launch an attack in the final couple of laps. That's his best chance, I think. And there's only one DRS zone around here, so maybe an attack on the final lap. Meanwhile, Ghost, oh, he's made contact with Lancer at the Villeneuve chicane. And that's seen the Mercedes go round, rejoin safely, Lancer. That's it, not onto the racing line, no carnage there. But that's a shame for DRL Lancer, who's going to drop way down, but he was privy to that anyway with the time penalties. That might be looked at by the stewards though, although maybe a little bit of a divisive one considering where the move was made. Meanwhile, Scotty seems to have made progress. He's got himself past Jackalacco, who's continuing to fight with Johnny Stokes and Scott, and Aces versus Kings as well. They're all very close together. Johnny Stokes very close, pushing that Ferrari through. You've got Ferrari Works team versus Ferrari Customer team. These two very close together. What are they going to produce on this racetrack through the Variante Outer? Now they go fairly tight, tricky chicane. You've really got to attack those curbs through there to get the best of the lap time around this circuit. Let's see what's Marcus up to this time. Yeah, I think he's happy to sit with Martin. You can see him conserving his battery, not using any if he doesn't need to, just recovering the energy. He's going to launch an attack on the final few laps. Not Eve, meanwhile, not happy to settle for gaining a place after a time penalty, moves up a position. Johnny Stokes down the inside of the Tamburello chicane. He goes on Jackalacco. Jacko could come back on this though. He's got a great run in towards Villeneuve, not able to draw alongside. And if you're not alongside at Villeneuve, don't go for the move, because it is a fast chicane and contact can happen. We saw that between Ghost and Lancer a lap ago, and we don't want any more calamitous moments in this race. But Not Eve got themselves onto the podium through pure merit, and Glowstick is provisionally in P4 at least. It's a yellow flag. That's Scott. He's out of the race. It's too late for a safety car as Lancer just about avoids the stricken Aston Martin as he comes through Piratella. Just on the racing line, I think that stricken Aston Martin is. So watch out, anybody coming through there. I think Tears managed to get through after the car was recovered, but no safety car. It's too late for the safety car to come out now. We're going to the penultimate lap. Martin and Short Marcus. Looks like Short Marcus launching the attack here. Wait till the last lap. Marcus, it might not be worth it, but he's going to go for it now anyway. Martin's going to defend with all of his might. Marcus breaks as late as he dares. Still side by side as they emerge, but it's TF Martin with the better line. Jackalacco and Johnny Stokes swapping places once again. Looks like Jacko got that one done on the straight. Fairly simple move for the Ferrari. Johnny's got himself a time penalty, so he's not going to be wanting to fight it too much, although tell a race driver to back off. I dare you, it won't end well. Short Marcus and Martin still close. Oh, Glowstick gets himself a time penalty, and I think he's outside of the range for Ghost. All he had to do was keep it in the white lines, and it was P4, but Ghost is going to see that off because Glowstick made a little mistake unless he can close up 1.3 seconds in the next lap and a half. And he's got Scotty breathing down his neck as well. Down the inside of the Variante Outer he goes, and the Williams is through. That's P5. And it looks like Glowstick is going to come under threat from Jackalacco in the Ferrari. Final run then through the final final tour of the Imola circuit before we go to Qatar for race number 2. And Martin under pressure. Here comes Short Marcus closing. He's going around the outside. Goes the Alpine. Can he get the move done? He's right onto the curb. Almost Hamilton-esque. And Martin off the circuit. Marcus into the lead, but Martin might fight that. And look who's snuck into this. It's not Eve. This is going to be an absolute grandstand finish. It's Not Eve on 6-lap fresh tyres. He's going to try and go for this. Can they get past TF Martin? The three of them so close together. There might be an argument in the steward's room later, but we're focusing on what is happening on track right now. Glowstick and Scotty go wheel to wheel once again, but we focus on our leaders now. We're keeping an eye on Not Eve. What can the McLaren do to get themselves higher up on that podium as they go through? Martin off the circuit. 3-second time penalty. He's going to lose P2 after that moment there. Oh dear, Martin, you've lost it. And if an after race penalty comes for Marcus, that could see Not Eve into winning positions. But there's 2 more corners now to navigate. The 2 Ravats as Martin don't go for it here. He does. Dives down the inside. That was very dicey for Martin, and I think he had that coming, trying to move like that, but Marcus is going to cross the line as the winner of the first race this evening. Not Eve. Ghost finds himself on the podium, but will he drop off it after that? No, he won't. So Ghost on the podium after an absolutely insane race here at Imola. And wow, I can finally catch my breath as the other drivers finish off. There he is then. Short Marcus steps up onto the top step of the podium after a hard-fought battle with his rivals. Maybe a little bit of bad blood between Short Marcus and Martin after the contact at Ravazza 1. You could argue that Martin made a very last-ditch effort to come through. Came from another postcode. You saw how far back he was. So he might have to hold his hands up and say, yeah, that was on me there. But the stewards will inevitably decide the conclusion of that one after the race this evening. But Short Marcus is your winner for race 1 then, with Not Eve after an incredible drive in race 1. It's definitely my driver of this race. As they made the most of the strategy, had some great pace, and gets themselves P2 with Ghost rounding off the podium. Scotty P4 finishes where he started. Jacko P5 rounding off the podium, or the top 5 even. Martin P6 with Glowstick 7. Johnny Stokes 8th. Aces vs Kings 9th. Lancer 10th. And Tier finishing off the grid with Scott unable to finish the race. Excellent stuff from ESRL for race 1. And let's take a look at the standings then while we've got some time. We've got thrust straight in. I was sorting out some stuff in between sessions. I've just come off one stream to come onto this one. So let's go then. TF Martin leads the way. He's got a 26-point advantage over Short Marcus on 61, so 87 for the lead, 61 for Short Marcus. Ghost on 48, he's creeping in there. Any decent results for Ghost? There's still a long way to go in the season. There's still 6 more races after these two to go. Well, if you count it 7, because we've still got Qatar to go yet, and that's 3 more rounds, so plenty of racing action to go, with Ghost having a P3, 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 another P3, and then P9. Mr. Consistent is Ghost. Loves the Sprint Championship. DRL Lancer 42 points. Johnny Stokes 34. 40 points for Clemo. Scotty for 20 points. Tied with Haas driver DTS Ayrton. Spowed wrong in the Alpine on 18 points. Jack Alako 16. Tied with Reshka, the reserve driver. JR Victor in the Williams on 10 points. 2 points for Womax. RS 2 points. Truckster 1 point. With QB Scott. Aces and Glowstick yet to score any points. Only the top 10 scoring points here in ESRL, so works out as the same it would in Formula 1. Then for the team standings, you've got 102 points for the Red Bull outfit, Alpine on 79 and 72 for the Mercedes team, so I don't think it's an unsurmountable lead of a 23-point gap. But it's certainly a decent one for where we are in the championship. 68 points for Haas in P4, 30 points for the Williams outfit, Ferrari on 24, 19 for Aston Martin, then there's McLaren on 9, 3 points for AlphaTauri, and 2 points for the Alfa Romeo Sauber team, who next season will just be Sauber, as Alfa Romeo drops out. And I don't know if it's been confirmed, but there's every likelihood that they switch over to Haas. And then you've got the Alfa Romeo MoneyGram Haas Formula 1 team. That's a mouthful. Say that 12 times fast. See how you go. I don't know why 12. But hello to the 4 people watching. If you're around in the live chat, start up a conversation. Did you enjoy the last race? I certainly did. Lots of action. Lots of overtakes, lots of drama as well. Just what we want from a Formula 1 race. And we've got one more to go at Qatar, of all places. What a circuit that is. I must say, it's one of my favourites. Since getting onto the wheel, it's been one of my favourite circuits to drive. It is so much fun. I couldn't put it down when I first got around there onto time trial. Absolutely loved it. I said the same about Suzuka after the first few laps, after I got used to not getting too aggressive on the curbs. There's other tracks that I love to drive on wheel at the moment as well. Saudi, hated it on controller, love it on the wheel. Excellent circuit, I think, to drive at least. Excellent racing there too. You know what, I think the relationship with Saudi started off a little bit sour. Yes, there is the human rights issues, and it will always be the human rights Grand Prix. And you could argue the same with Qatar as well. Not going to lie. Definitely with Qatar, actually. They're very much sport focused at the behest of thousands of immigrant workers or migrant workers. So we don't forget that one. Qatar World Cup. Looking at you. Just saying. Next World Cup in the Americas. It's going to be spread across Mexico, USA, and Canada. Actually, Canada, I quite like their football up there. I mean, nowhere near a national sport or anything. That obviously goes to like ice hockey. But they don't mind a bit of football up in Canada. The women's team have certainly been great, as is the US team, although a little bit lacking of late, I should say. Yeah, they like their football up in Canada. Lots of football pitches about, or soccer, if you want to call it that, but I refuse to. It's football, not soccer. Where did that even come from? Honestly. Anyway, just waiting for the grid to be set. Who will be your pole man? I think it'll be Tier on pole position. Let me look back. Get up the grid for you. Just be the reverse of what we've just witnessed. It's obvious. So Tier will be on pole position. Then DRL Lancer joins him on the front row. Aces versus Kings and Johnny Stokes will share row number 2. Glowstick and TF Martin on the third row. Jackalaka and Scotty on row number 4, with Ghost, not Eve, on the next row of the grid, with Short Marcus and Scott rounding off the rest of the grid. So that's going to be your reverse grid for the next race. Oh, sure. That was a tense race. Yes, it was. It has recovered from EOR. Yeah, yes. I managed to get myself a nice cup of tea down. You know what? A cup of tea does wonders for the voice, by the way. And ever since delving into a bit more professional commentary of late, I was told that rather than cold water, not lukewarm, but room temperature water, very good for the voice, actually. Cold water, not so much. So there's a little bit of advice from me to you from somebody that I worked with recently. I can't remember maybe it was Steve Carabellis. I can't remember. I probably butchered the name as well. It was somebody over in JPB, which I do work for the odd Tuesdays and Sundays when there's some racing to be commented on. But we've got 5 seconds down as well. Nice latte it does me. You know, I'm trying to cut down on my coffee, Short Marcus, because too much caffeine's not too great for you. Although I did have a coffee this morning, but I was running on about 5 hours sleep after bad decisions were made about bedtime before having to start work at 9 o'clock in the morning. So yes, I can have as late a night as I want tonight, because I don't start till the evening tomorrow, which it's a shame because I'm going to miss EOR, and I would have loved to have made it this Saturday, but unfortunately my work schedule is a bit of a nightmare, and I get more money from my shift work than I do commentary at the moment, so it's just the way the cookie has crumbled. Although I'm coming for Crofty's job, I want it. I think it'd be great to be the voice of Formula 1. I'd love that. I don't know, we'll see where this continues to go. It's been about 2.5 years behind the microphone, and I've loved every moment of it. I think it's been one of the best decisions I ever made, way back when I decided to jump on board with Tier 2 then. But we find ourselves in Qatar. I'll stop rambling on. We have got one more race for you this evening, and a great track, one of the newest additions to the Formula 1 Canada. Last seen, of course, during 2021, where that I can't remember what happened exactly in that race, but it was the season where we saw one of the most climactic battles that ended in such controversy in Formula One that I don't think it'll ever be forgotten or stopped being talked about for a long time, and it brought many fans back to the sport and new fans into the sport as well, and the likes of Drive to Survive have a claim on that as well. But let's run over the strategies then for this circuit that is originally home to the MotoGP, obviously the motorbike racing on two wheels, the two-wheel discipline rather than the four-wheel monocoque discipline that is Formula One. But it's a great circuit, absolute roller coaster, incredible high-speed corners. This complex is coming up in a few moments' time, very reminiscent of the complex at Turkey. Look at triple right-hander. You're flat through all three of the corners, maybe a little downshift in the last part of it, and then very flat through there. There's only really one low-speed corner, that being turn number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the hairpin down there, and I suppose you could argue turn 7 as well, but turn 6 is certainly the only corner you go below 4th gear on. But we'll take a quick look at the strategy then. It's an even split, it seems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 it is. So the top three opted for the soft compounds with Johnny Stokes and Glowstick on the mediums, Martin on the softs, Jacko, Scotty, Ghost, not Eve on the mediums. That could be a decent strategy for them. And Short Marcus and Scott on the soft compound. Short Marcus is going to have a few cars to clear if he wants to get an attack on TF Martin, who is in prime position for a race win considering his pace. But we'll see how this one pans out. Johnny Stokes will have a point to prove after the last race, after spinning from the lead. Everybody else will want to be chomping at the bit as well. Keep an eye on those medium runners. They'll be very quick in the latter stages. Keep an eye on Not Eve as well. Looks very quick at the moment. But here we go then. Tier is going to lead us away after the 5 red lights for the Qatar Grand Prix. And it's lights out. And we are underway, and it looks like a decent start from Lancer, who's going to attack Tier into the first corner. Isn't able to draw completely alongside, but Tier breaks earlier than the Mercedes, and Lancer goes down the inside. Johnny Stokes sticking it there too, looks to try and go around the side of the Aston Martin. TF Martin already up 2 places. That's Aces with a bit of contact, and he's round. Oh no, Aces, not the best way to start off this second race. Martin up a couple of places already. Meanwhile, Short Marcus trying to make short work of these McLarens and maybe get ahead of the Ferrari of Giacalacco as well. And he's got a lot of work to do. Looks to the inside of the Ferrari at turn number 6. That one slow corner gets up ahead, and this is going to be a hell of a race for the next 14 laps. Lancer well away. Johnny Stokes putting in a challenge on Tier now. The gap 2 seconds from the leader down to P2. Everybody on board the Tier train know as that Alfa Romeo tries to make his car as wide as possible. TF Martin lurks in the background. Johnny Stokes makes a very good and opportunistic move through these high speed corners there. Gets himself up into P2. Looks to start chasing after DRL Lancer in the Mercedes. Be careful of track limits around this track, folks. Very easy to get yourself a penalty as Ghost creeping up behind TF Martin. He's going to give the Red Bull driver a run for his money. He's P3 in the standings thus far, but he's definitely not out of this one. He's going to want to fight this as hard as he can. And look, your top 3 in the standings, all close to each other. Martin 4, Ghost now into P4, but I think he's got a bit too deep. Invites the Red Bull back in, and the Alpine going to go round the outside and fight this. So they're now in championship order of Martin, Marcus and Ghost in this little fight here. They've still got Johnny Stokes, Tier and DRL Lancer to get themselves past, but a lovely little battle between our championship contenders is brewing up here, and here comes Martin looking to get his way past Tier. Ghost trying to find a way past Short Marcus, manages to do it and gets up a place, but Short Marcus will definitely want to fight that one back. Keep an eye on Ghost. He's on that alternate strategy, and depending on when he decides to pit, he could be in an absolute prime position for a race win, as Tier very deep in there loses a bunch of places. Tier now in another place, already a time penalty. It's only been 2 laps, Tier. Calm down, keep it in the white lines. It is very easy to get one round here, though. You're invited to really push and get the most out of the corners. Try and carry as much speed as you can through all of them. Let's see what happens. Ghost will want to try and stay in the DRS if he can. Short Marcus, P5, just behind as well. Going to challenge the Haas. Looks to the inside. Ghost defends it. Round the outside, the Alpine goes. Side by side, they go through now. Who's going to emerge out in front? It's going to be the Alpine. Ghost doesn't want to fight this too much. I think he recognises that if he fights with Short Marcus, they're going to lose touch to TF Martin. And then the likes of Not Eve and Jacko and Glowstick are free to start accosting the pair of them, especially if they keep fighting as they are. We've already seen today Not Eve very fast out there on the track. And also on that alternate strategy. Alongside Ghost, so keep an eye on these two. It's a split strategy between the four of them here. This could be very interesting to watch. Ghost a bit deep. Not Eve might have a little think about a move on the Haas maybe as they climb the hill now. Meanwhile, Martin makes a pass on Johnny Stokes. Gets himself into P2. He's got 4 seconds to clear to Lancer. He's got themselves a penalty as well. And that's going to hinder the progress of the Mercedes. 3-second time penalty, I think. Yeah, track limits. Very easy to get penalties around here. You're running on those curves a lot. Very easily done, as Not Eve and Ghost are going to go side by side. Not Eve goes around the outside of Ghost. Ghost not able to do too much about it. Has to succeed the position. And is going to now sit behind Not Eve and maybe think about an attack plan going forward behind the wheel of that Haas car. Johnny Stokes sticking with TF Martin. That'll be music to the ears of Short Marcus. He'll want to make a quick pass of the Haas if he can. Johnny no slouch, but he's been prone to a mistake or two in the few races that I've seen him in. So he'll want to try and iron that one out if he can. Try not to make any errors that are unforced or that don't need to be made. Let's see how this plays out. It's settled down a little bit now. Not as crazy as Imola, but there's still cars very close to each other. They're all trying to suss one another out, trying to find the best way to make the moves around this track. Because it's such a high-speed circuit, overtaking's not as easy as it looks because everybody's on it, but it comes down to the mistakes you make around this circuit. You make a mistake, you invite an overtake. And Short Marcus into the pits. Only after 4 laps, he's going to go onto those medium compound tyres. He's going to undercut everybody here. This is going to trigger a chain reaction, I expect. And other drivers are going to start thinking, gosh, I should start coming in soon. Especially the likes of Lancer and TF Martin, who also started on the softs. All the medium runners do as well. They're going to have to come and stay out on for a fair few more laps. I don't expect them to come into maybe lap 6, lap 7. Maybe lap 8 at a push, but maybe lap 8's too late. We'll see, but our leader thus far, DRL Lancer, but on paper it's going to be Martin with that 3-second time penalty to the Mercedes ahead. They'll want to make up some, they don't want to have a redemption arc, I suppose, in this race after the calamitous end to the Imola race that we had a few moments ago. Another time penalty for Lancer. That's going to be 6 seconds now for the Mercedes. Not helping his campaign to win a race thus far. And he's going to drop way back now. Well off the podium after that penalty there. Let's see. Let's keep an eye on the times. Where is Short Marcus? There he is. He's 7 seconds or 8 seconds behind. Nobody's come in. Martin stays out. Lance is in fact. Martin stays out. Everybody else is staying out. What about Scotty? Scotty stays out. Other Aston Martin stays out. Will Ace come in perhaps and try and undercut? He is. Then in he goes. Trying to go for that undercut on his rivals ahead of him. Let's see how that helps him through. Here's Short Marcus making decent ground. He's got a clear track ahead of him. That's going to play in his favour. He'll hope that Johnny Stokes starts putting some pressure onto TF Martin, making him fight, making him work, making him take energy out of those tyres, slowing him down, helping with the undercut. The short Marcus wasn't too far back. We'll take a look. Martin is now your leader. We can take a look. 24.1 seconds is the gap. I'm not sure how much time you lose in the pit lane, but that looks fairly close to a decent undercut. So we'll have to wait and see. It's not the longest of pit lanes here, but it's certainly not the shortest either. It actually does look quite long from what I can see, because it comes in just before the last corner and it comes out just after turn 1, so we'll see. But coming down through the last couple of corners, what's Martin going to do? He'll know that short Marcus came in for a stop, and he comes. Johnny's going to follow him in. Eve stays out, Ghost stays out. Unsurprisingly, really, on those medium tyres. Oh! Disqualified for the session, parked at a dangerous location. Who was that? That was Lancer. Oh no! Did he get beached? If Lancer comes into the chat, he must tell me what happened. He must have got beached somewhere on the circuit. Unless he just stopped or had an error or a technical issue. Oh no! Lancer out of the race. An abysmal weekend. Or abysmal Friday night for the Mercedes driver. But anyway, let's see. Short Marcus has got the undercut to work. We've just seen TF Martin come out just behind him. So the undercut has worked. But TF Martin is still within threat range. So these two are going to continue their battle from Imola, and there's no love lost between the two of them. There might be some sparks to fly out on the circuit other than the floor hitting the surface of the track, because these two have got some unsettled business after that Imola race. These two will be close together. I'm keeping my eye though on Not Even Ghost. I think the undercut will catch them out. However, they're going to be on softs, but I'm not sure how different the two compounds of tyre are around this circuit. It certainly will take any sort of understeer out. Let's see what they do. Are they coming in? Eve stays out. Ghost in. Okay. Ghost is going to go for the undercut on Eve at the very least. There's a yellow flag going around the circuit. I think it's following one of the cars here. Who's that following? It might just be a glitch, because none of these cars seem to have any damage or fuel. Oh, Johnny Stokes looks like he's underfueled the car though. So keep an eye on that. Haas might run out of fuel, but where is Ghost going to come out in relation? He's exiting the pits now. There goes Short Marcus and the Red Bull. They've just gone past. He's going to be just behind his teammate Johnny Stokes, who Ghost will hope won't get in his way too much if he's able to catch up to these two, who he's going to hope are going to fight. But Short Marcus, he's unable to open up a gap. TF Martin looks like he's got some pace over his Alpine rival, and this could be a quick overtake back into the race lead, or the net race lead here. Let's see. I think Ghost's race here is with Not Eve, in all honesty, unless he can catch up, but we'll see. Here comes Martin. Short Marcus will want to fight this as much as he can, and that will play right into Ghost's hands, because if he slows them up, then this will be a decent run for him, and he'll want his teammate Johnny Stokes on those soft tyres to get involved and try and slow them up as well, because then Haas can maybe get themselves a double podium out of this session. So there's still a lot to play for in the latter stages of this race. We're about 7.5 laps to completion. It's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. 9.5 laps. Well, no, it is 8.5. Oh, goes the time penalty again. These little errors, these uncharacteristic mistakes from Ghost really costing him. And Martin passes Johnny Stokes, passes Short Marcus as well. Well, they both get... Well, no, Johnny Stokes stayed at the back, but Martin passed Short Marcus. Fairly easy move on the only DRS straight we have at this circuit. And that's going to be Martin back into the lead. How much can Marcus fight this one on 2 lap older tyres? Then Martin, he's going to try and stay as close as he can, but Johnny Stokes is going to look to make this difficult. And, well, Not Eve has seen off the undercut. It's not worked from Ghost. Ghost's undercut didn't work. Not Eve came in the pits, and Goes close for in striking distance, but that penalty really going to hamper him. Only the top 4 without time penalties. Everybody else has picked one up. All track limits. 3, 3, 3, 3, 6, 3, 9 are your time penalties as they stand at the moment. Not even closing on Johnny Stokes and co. And Ghost will be wanting to stick with the McLaren and use the McLaren to draw himself into this fight. We could have a 5-car battle on our hands by the end of the race. Let's see. Short Marcus using everything he's got. TF Martin, he's very smart with his ERS usage. But here comes Marcus down the inside. Catches the Red Bull napping a little bit. But they're going to fight this all the way through the corner. And Martin off the track a little bit. Down the inside they go. They touch through turn number 3. And looks like Short Marcus is going to lose a place now to Johnny Stokes, who's going to go around the outside. No. Backs off perhaps, or Marcus just manages to fend off the Haas for now, but the fighting is erupting and they're going to have to be careful because not even Ghost are closing in quite quickly. 1.5 is the gap between Eve and Stoke. Now 1.3, it's coming down at a steady rate, and if Marcus fights too much he'll lose sight of Martin. And it will be too late, and it will be a battle for P2 rather than a battle for the win of this race. Johnny Stokes will want to be aware of that as well as they go through. But Ghost really, he hasn't got much stake in this. He's got that penalty, so Johnny Stokes actually the better car to be flying the flag for Haas, but not Eve now. After pushing some very good laps, is caught onto the back of this. Here we go. It just about getting DRS Short Marcus, but here comes Johnny Stokes. Lots of flashing red lights. Not Eve will be happy with that one. Got a lot of ERS left to use and sets the fastest lap to boot. That's a statement of intent from the McLaren, who is within touching distance of the leaders. Just got to clear these 2 cars ahead of them in order to get themselves up. Meanwhile, Jackalacco makes up a place ahead of Glowstick in the Ferrari. Not a bad little move from the Scotsman. I think that's the 2 Scotsmen going toe-to-toe, actually. I think Glowstick's also a Scottish national, or at least as much as the flag will tell you. But look, Martin, he's like, see you later, folks. You guys keep fighting away there. I'm just gonna peel away, sneak into the lead, let you guys have a bit of a battle. Not Eve, trying a different line, trying to find a way past the Haas. Maybe even before the DRS, it would be a smart move to try and get past anywhere that they can. If a gap opens itself up, you've got to go for it. In the words of Ayrton Senna, you know, if you don't go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver. You've got to go for those gaps when they present themselves. And Eve trying to make a gap happen. Looks to the outside of Johnny Stokes. All right, on board a little bit. Looks to maybe cut under Johnny Stokes. Doesn't quite let that one work, but gets a great exit, and here they go. Is it going to be 3 wide down towards turn number 1? It is. They're going to go 3 wide, but not Eve is going to gain 2 places in the space of 1 corner. A perfect exit from the McLaren. Just goes to show that slowing fast out is always the best way to go when coming for a corner. Because look at the results, and Stokes and Marcus now both have penalties, so just even Martin with no penalties, so the race is between them. Let's pop the penalties up on screen so it's easier to track. We've only got a few laps left of this Grand Prix now. How is this one going to play out? Not Eve will be trying to catch up to Martin as best as they can. Setting fastest sector 1 again. Looking to set another fast lap. Perhaps Martin will start to see that McLaren close and close and close in and start to put on a bit of a sweat perhaps. But Ghost is brought back into this fight now, as he's got 3-second time penalties along with Stokes and Marcus now. Glowstick and Jackalacco continue their battle from what I can see. The Glowstick back ahead of his countryman. Not a bad go of it. if you ask me, and not Eve, closing down Martin in the lead. Gonna have DRS now. We're coming on to lap number 13, the penultimate lap of this race. Another grandstand finish on the cards, I think so. I'm loving my time here at ESRL. Meanwhile, Ghost is fighting with Marcus. Johnny Stokes is still ahead of the Alpine, and it's 2 Haas cars versus 1 lone Alpine out there on the track. Ace is a 3-second time penalty for track limits. He ships the place, I think. Meanwhile, Scott making moves perhaps with the Scotty. The two of them close together, but no moves being made for the time being. I'm going to fact check my thing on glow stick quickly, while I'm also trying to keep track of this. Nothing's erupting yet, but not Eve closing in, really piling on the pressure, and it's looking very good for, yes, I was right, the Scots. Anyway, piling on the pressure for the lead of this race. We've got a few more corners and 1 more lap to go. Tears come in. Gonna try and set fastest lap perhaps. 15 seconds of time penalties. Really loving those time penalties as Tier out there on the circuit, but he's got no one to lose a place to, and here comes Not Eve looking to the inside, and the 10th minute now. This is going to be an absolute barnstormer for the end of this. Was that a mistake from Martin? It looks like it, and he's looking vulnerable, and he moves to try and break the toe, and it looks like Eve's going to draw alongside. Easy move here. Martin, will he go down the inside? He does. Breaks a bit later, and Eve sees him coming. They're side by side for the final corner. A little bit of a mistake from Martin. That's going to invite Eve into the race, and now all Eve's got to do is keep Martin behind and hope he doesn't get a better exit. Meanwhile, Sean Marcus has got ahead of Johnny Stokes. These three are going to be fighting for the 3rd place on the podium, and Martin gets a time penalty. All Eve's got to do is keep it within the lines, and this is their race as they go through. It is the final few moments of this race, coming through sector 2 for the last time now, and Ghost is on the attack now of his teammate. Will there be team orders at Haas? I don't think so. No, it won't matter, because 6 seconds is the time penalty for Johnny Stokes, so P4 is on the cards. Johnny, just let him go. Let Ghost attack Marcus. It's the best thing for you guys to do. Swap places, come on. Ghost to be screaming that down the mic. Oh, he won't be screaming. He'll be very calm behind the mic, but because it's Ghost. But I'd definitely be screaming that one down the mic. Let me pass, please. But Not Eve. Only got 1 more corner to navigate. Has been the only driver to keep it on track. Ghost gets past Johnny, who got a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, but Not Eve is going to be the winner for the 2nd race this evening. What a drive from the McLaren, and a just driver of the day from Not Eve after that. What a performance that was. Martin P2, Marcus and Ghost come home P3 and 4 as well, with Johnny 16 seconds of time penalties. Out of the invite Jacko there. Did Johnny run out of fuel? He's out of fuel. Oh, Johnny. Oh no. I said he underfueled. I spotted it in the early laps, and look at that. That's the result for you. He's out of fuel. Johnny Stokes, that's a rookie mistake, my friend, after a tremendous race as well. Didn't have the pace. That was a tough one. That looked quite a tough one. Martin had a lot of pace, but take solace in the fact that Eve managed to snatch the win here today. Who got fastest lap? Eve as well, so max points for the McLaren. What a evening of racing here at ESRL reverse grid sprints. Oh yeah, absolutely insane pace from Eve. Both races as well. The Norwegian driver up on the top of the podium. What a great performance. Love to see that again. A McLaren in real Formula 1 on top of the podium. Now, I didn't know McLaren is my favourite team. Has been since I started watching Formula 1. Favourite driver pairing. Jenson Button, Lewis Hamilton. No problem, Marcus. I'm glad you're looking forward to watching that one back. They were a great couple of races. But Not Eve then is going to be your winner for this evening with the Red Bull of Martin after that time penalty and getting outraced by Eve. Finishes P2 with Sean Marcus finishing off the flanking manoeuvre on the winner. Then Ghost P4, Jackalacco P5, P6 Scott. Then there's Glowstick in 7, Johnny Stokes 8, 9 to Aces versus King, Scotty Her in 10th, Tier in 11th with DRL Lancer not finishing the race. And my driver of the day, Not Eve. What an incredible performance. What a couple of great races from the McLaren driver. Well done. Pat on the back to everybody. Not Eve, to all the podium sitters and all the drivers as well for some absolutely fantastic racing here tonight. Absolutely love that one. Brilliant stuff. Let's take a look then at where we go next week. Hopefully I'm here. I'll keep my fingers crossed on that one. Not much I can do if I'm not. But let's take a look at the calendar. So next we have Belgium and Silverstone. What a couple of circuits to go racing at. And then the 1st of December sees us go to Monza in Japan. And then the finale at Abu Dhabi and Brazil. 2 circuits that have held finales. Obviously Abu Dhabi, the current finale of Formula 1. Brazil, the spiritual finale of Formula 1, because it's such a great race. But that's it, everybody. That's it for tonight's double dose of streams. I hope you, if you joined me for APPF1, I hope you enjoyed it. If you've joined me for this one, you've enjoyed as well. I'll make sure you're subscribed and you've liked and all that stuff. All the support goes a long way, and I really, really appreciate it. I hope you guys have enjoyed all the racing this evening. But that's going to do me for now. Join me again. I may be back tomorrow for some more career mode. If not, I might do that Sunday. But I'll definitely be back on Tuesday for some more Tier 2 racing. But for now, I have been Sumo. I hope you all have a tremendous Friday night, wherever you may be. And thank you all so much for tuning in. But for now, it's a very warm good night.